It's Cash Flow Podcast time again. Welcome back. I'm Pam Pryor. Today we're going to talk about something that definitely has to do with money, but it seems a little off topic at first, and it's productivity. Now, there are a bazillion productivity gurus out there, and I'm not pretending to be one. What I am, though, is somebody who has a very effective way of not being productive. So I want to share something that came up in our Keep It Simple Squad call last night. And it reminded me of this very simple process to make sure that you get the most important things in your day done every day. And I've recommitted to it. So I want to challenge myself and challenge you to, if this resonates with you, everybody's got their own preferences, I'm going to do this thing for the next 30 days and see if it makes a significant difference in what's going on. And I think it's going to. Because if you're like me, you get up in the morning and your phone's right there and you pick it up and you start looking at email. And right away, I hand away total control of my time to whoever happens to be emailing me or most recently emailed me or texted me or whatever it might be. And that then totally takes over the direction of my day. If I had one or two or three things that I really needed to make sure I get done, now I'm fitting those in. And like most things, when you try and fit them in, chances are pretty good you're not going to get a chance to. Because the other thing that happens, at least with me, is I'll go address an email, and while I'm addressing that email, I have to go to another website. And when I'm on that website, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to check something in QuickBooks. Then I go into QuickBooks and I'm like, oh, how did that happen? And I go down that rabbit hole. So like one email first thing in the morning before my feet even hit the floor has suddenly dictated my entire day. So let's dive into it. First of all, why does overwhelm keep kind of breaking in? And I checked out a couple studies because I really wanted to address this because I'd looked at it in corporate for a while to try and figure out how much time I waste with people who'd come to your door and say, I used to call it the "do you have a minute" syndrome. And when you were in an office, I'd be sitting there and my day just got lost to, do you have a minute? And it was, do you have a minute? I need to have you look at something. Or do you have a minute? Could you please address this personnel issue? And I thought, if that's happening in an office situation, it's probably happening to entrepreneurs, even virtually, as a lot of us often don't work necessarily in a particular location with other people. And sure enough, some recent studies have shown that about 40% of our days is dealing with distractions. Email, random cell stuff, scrolling to research something, a rabbit hole that we've gone down that wasn't kind of our intent when we started the day. Some of those rabbit holes are productive. Some of those are things we need to take care of. And I'm okay with maybe 5 or 10% of my time being stolen for that. But when I saw that it's like 40%, and that's consistent across a number of sources, when I saw it was 40%, I'm like, okay, I got to stop that. Because if I'm losing 40% productivity, I'm probably losing 40% revenue, 40% profitability, 40% of all the things that I could be doing in place of dealing with those distractions and rabbit holes. And the bottom line is, if we don't have a clear plan to protect those boundaries for ourselves, then it's never going to change. And just a reminder, I'm lecturing myself. I literally am lecturing myself right now. If we don't set a plan and we don't follow it around this kind of reactivity to other people's needs, frankly, then we end up not just not serving ourselves, but not serving our clients, our employees, our staff, our families, anything. So it becomes really a sacrifice of the things most important to the people and things you care about the most. And again, I care about the most. So the reason I know this works is because I've tried it. And there are a few things like this. This is one of them. I'll hit on some of the others on other episodes. But if I do this thing every day, and it takes 5 minutes, my productivity doubles. And I know that's what I'm going to prove to myself over these next 30 days. And I'm hoping that this time when I prove it to myself, I just make this sink in forever and ever. And what is the 5-minute power plan? The 5-minute power plan really is based on something called the 5-minute power plan is based on something called the Eisenhower matrix, and it separates things into different categories, and defines kind of the difference between urgent and important. And it makes the point that a lot of times we focus on the urgent, which is like putting out the little fires, instead of the important, which is like making sure the fires don't happen again. And it's absolutely true. And I'm sure you feel this way. It's like whack-a-mole, right? As entrepreneurs, every day we're whacking the next thing that pops up. And we hope that one's so big that it just consumes us doesn't pop up while we're whacking all the other little ones. So all you need to do here is sit down at the beginning of the day before you look at the phone and write down the top 3 absolutely must-do tasks today. And maybe it's only 2, maybe it's only 1 for you, but no more than 3. If you were to seriously move the needle on whatever it is you're trying to accomplish today, it could be personal goals, but if you're going to seriously move the needle, what 1, 2, or 3 things do you have to do today? Do you have to get to the end of the day and say, okay, I made that progress, I did those things? And this isn't the list that goes, check email, go make posts on Twitter. These are the big things, like I need to close a client deal. Here's an example from me, I need to review my landing page and give feedback to my marketing team on the landing page. Others might be, for example, have lunch with my spouse. But pick the 3 things, write them down. Okay, the writing down is huge. And I don't care, you can type them, it's not the same. Having a piece of paper or even a sticky note, or if you keep a journal, handwriting down, these are the 3 things I'm going to do today. It helps. I don't know all the neurology behind it, but I know there is neurology behind it. It helps make it sink in. It helps you commit to it because you've physically written it down. Now, you can't pretend you didn't break a promise to yourself. Now, it's written down. You've got a contract with yourself, is kind of how I look at it, or what it does for me. So, one example today, like one of my most important things was pick 3 really good episodes that we're going to record today. And this, of course, is one of them. A second one is I have a client to send a final proposal to. And a third one, I haven't picked my third one yet. I may just stick with 2 today. But those things are things I have to get done today, and I'm going to get done because I've set aside the time for it. Now, here's a big important piece of this. Don't judge yourself too harshly, okay? We're gonna make sure that we set aside time at the very beginning of the day. And it's the first hour of your workday. Now, there are early risers and there are late risers, and I don't care whether you're a 4 a.m. person or a 10 a.m. person. But the first hour of your actual workday, close the blinds, turn off the phone, and do at least one of the things on that list. The thing that always blows me away is that when I do that and I just assign an hour to it, it gets done. Even if it's a thing that I normally thought would have taken 2 or 3 or 4 hours. And that's because when we approach it the other way, we let our jobs fill whatever time we give it. And if we don't set the boundaries, then we just keep fiddling with it over and over and over and over again. Whereas if I set the hour, for example, with reviewing the lead page, if I set an hour for that, then I got to give all my input in an hour. That's it. And I will. And it's plenty of time. An hour is a lot of time to work on something, totally uninterrupted. But I also challenge you to think about how many times do you stay totally uninterrupted for an hour at a time? It's kids, it's animals, it's doorbells, it's packages being delivered, it's, who knows what. But lock yourself away. Figure out how to do it and figure out how to stay focused on that one thing for an hour. Another thing some people do is say, hey, you don't want to sit for that long. I can't focus for that long at a time. That's totally fine. Break your hour up, okay? Make it 3 20-minute blocks where you work for 15, take a 5-minute break. Work for 15, take a 5-minute break. Fancy name for that is Pomodoro, but still you're getting an uninterrupted full hour. And if you're not somebody who likes to sit down for an hour and just go, split it up into 3 20-minute chunks. But get one thing done in that first hour. And that's really the big challenge. The challenge part for me that I'm challenging myself and challenging you to is kind of the 2 pieces are, 1, before I do anything else, write down what the most important things to do today are. In fact, some people will do that the night before. So you don't even have to worry about that step in the morning. I could, as the last thing before I kind of shut down for the night, go, okay, if tomorrow's going to be the day I need it to be, here are the 3 things I need to do. Then you're starting out way ahead of the game. Because then all you have to do is pick, okay, here's my start time. The first thing I'm going to do is one of those things. And if it's 6 to 7 a.m., that's great. If your day starts at noon and it's noon to 1 p.m., that's great. But block that hour and do the thing. And when you're picking, if you have three things, just pick the most important and recognize that giving that hour to it, what you probably find is a lot of cases you will get it done. But if you don't get it done, that's not a failure. You've made progress you wouldn't have otherwise made. And that's what I mean when I say don't judge yourself. So one, don't judge yourself if you don't actually get the thing done in an hour. But the second thing is don't judge yourself if you find that you're not perfect at doing this every single day. This isn't an exercise for us to beat ourselves up. This is an exercise to get a high off of that productivity. And if you're able to do it for 5, 6, 7 days in a row, however long it takes to make a habit, again, there's science on that, and you start getting that high of getting to the end of the day and going, wow, I got these things done, that'll feed itself. And then you won't ever have to judge yourself. If you have a day that you don't do it, you're actually going to miss it, right? And that's kind of where we're heading. And I actually wondered to myself, why do I ever fall off of this habit? But it's really easy to do. And I just have to be pretty gentle with myself when that happens, because, when we were talking about this last night in the KISS Keep It Simple squad, it literally, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did I ever stop doing that? It felt great, but I didn't judge myself. Every single moment as entrepreneurs, we're making the best decision we can in the moment. As people, as humans, we are. So there's just nothing to judge, right? At whatever point I decided to stop doing it, there was a reason, and it was the best decision I could have made in that moment. So the other thing I want to point out is the reason for the 3. So our brain can really only manage 1 or 2 or 3 big things at a time. A lot of us can multitask and do 20 or 30 little things, but the little things aren't necessarily going to move the needle. And that's why I'm suggesting you hone in and really don't do any more than 3. Okay, so one last piece to this. At the end of the day, just take 2 minutes and evaluate how you did. And write that down on the same piece of paper. I don't care if it's toilet paper, the back of an envelope, a sticky note, or a journal. Write down kind of your feelings about how it went today. Yep, I got to number 1, finished it, feel great. Got to number 1, got a little stuck, but did get to spend time thinking in that hour that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten to think about that thing, so that tomorrow I'll make more progress on it. Or, I totally didn't do it today. I went ahead and checked my phone, it flashed, I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb, and I went down, a typical rabbit hole. And write what that rabbit hole was. Because I did this exercise once, and it really blew my mind. I don't remember the details, but basically there was an email, and I went to answer it. And when I went back and counted, I ended up somewhere way down the road doing something. And when I counted back how I got to that thing, there were 15 different little misdirections that happened between answering that email and then my wandering down all the different rabbit holes I crossed as I just kept looking at open tabs, basically. I think of my brain as Chrome, and I just kept opening tabs to look at newer things. And so that's happening to you more than you think. And so in your exercise on the review at night, if you kind of write down, oh my God, I did go down a rabbit hole. What was that rabbit hole? And back yourself up from where you ended up to whatever started it. First of all, it's kind of humorous to see. But second of all, it'll really point out to you how easily that can happen if you give any break into that hour. So what are the steps again? Right after this episode, grab a notebook or an app or wherever you do this. But again, I like writing it down and make the list of your top 3 things for tomorrow. We're already into today, right? But for tomorrow, write down what those 3 things are. Make that contract with yourself. Some people even sign it. And that's kind of cool because that adds a whole nother level of, commitment to it, to me anyway. Then pick what time tomorrow your day starts. And whatever time tomorrow your day starts, if it starts with a meeting, first of all, start an hour earlier, okay? Get an hour in just to yourself for this thing before whatever is already on your calendar that may not be one of those things. Now, if the meeting's on your calendar and it is one of the big things for your day, cool, start with that. That's a no-brainer. And then just commit to 7 days. Just do this for 7 days straight. And at the end of those 7 days, literally write down if you've seen any significant progress in your business. And I'm going to bet that you have. And I hope you drop your comments below come back to this episode or drop it on a future episode. Hey, this made this kind of a difference to me. Because that'll also, again, reinforce, say, if I can do it for 7 days, I can do it for 30. And that's my commitment. My commitment is I'm going to do it for 30 days, and I'm challenging you to try it for a week and go ahead and drop comments here or on in Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I'm out there everywhere as Pam S. Pryor. Anywhere you see me, if you're responding to this challenge, drop a comment in, DM me something so that I know that you're in this with me, and we'll do it together. So that's it. Let's do this together. Keep keeping it simple, stay productive, and I'll see you soon on Cash Flow Podcast.